Hi, 5th and 6th graders. Happy Friday. This is actually going to be your last language assignment. We have 3 more weeks of school. And we're going to be doing some projects like science fair projects online. And so instead of doing this type of stuff, you're going to work on those things. So this is your last one. Oh my goodness, it's that time already. So we're going to talk about something called perfect tenses. And so when we say a tense in grammar or language class, a tense, it's basically talking about a time. It's telling us the time that something is happening. So what we've talked about in the last couple of weeks is we've talked about present tense, past tense, and future tense, and that tells us the time that the action of the verb happened. So present tense is happening. Past tense, the action already happened. In future tense, it's going to happen in the future. We're going to have a couple other tenses show up in our work. And so we're just going to introduce it today. And you're going to actually be doing this all the way through 8th grade, learning about different tenses. All right, so the perfect tenses are verbs that are made with the past tense or past participle and the helping verb have, and sometimes that shows up as has or had, depending on the tense or the time that happens. So, if we use has or have and we use the past tense, we get the present perfect tense. So it's basically something that started in the past, but whatever that action is still happening in the present. So it's called the present perfect tense. Then you have the past perfect tense. It's something that started in the past and ended in the past, and so it's called the past perfect. And you use had and the past tense. And then you have the future perfect tense, and that's an action that basically is going to start in the future and it will continue in the future. And we use will, have, sometimes shall have. If you're being very formal, but for our sakes, we're going to use will have most of the time. All right, and so here's some examples if we use the verb produce. So in the present tense, it's produces, the factory produces cotton, the student produces work. Okay, that's action that's happening right now. The past tense has the ed on the end, right? We did that. That means it happened in the past. The factory produced cotton. The student produced work. That happened already. All right. The future tense, it's going to happen. It uses the helping verb will. So the factory will produce cotton, and the student will do their language work. All right, then we have the 3 that we're talking about today. All right, so it uses has or have and then produced. You see how in the perfect tenses it's all produced. It's that past tense verb. All right, so the factory has produced, or the factories have produced. All right, so the action started in the past, but it's continuing. It has produced cotton. It's still producing the cotton, but it already started a while ago. So that's what why we use those words. With the past perfect, it's the factory had produced. So the action started in the past and ended in the past. It's already done. Kind of complicated, but English is a very interesting language. And then the final one we're talking about today is the future perfect, where it says will have produced. The factory will have produced cotton. So it's action that will start in the future and then will continue. Yeah, I know. So the words we're looking for when we're talking about the perfect tenses is we're looking for has, have, had, and will have, or will, yeah. All right, so we're going to look for, in the first part, we're going to look for the perfect tense verbs. So let's look for our little key words, okay? So the first one, it says Cone Mill has operated textile factory since 1891. Okay, so do you see our helping verb right there? Has, and then the past tense verb that goes with it. Has what? Has operated. And I got to turn this a little bit so I can do some straight lines. Try and make it nice and neat. Number 2, Americans had begun buying Cone's flannel by 1898. Do you see our helping verb? And the verb that goes with it, had what? Had begun. Remember, begun is one of those irregular past tense verbs. Number 3, Cone's denim fabric will have influenced the clothing industry for over 100 years. Where are our helping verbs? Will have right here, and influence, the past tense verb that goes with it. So we underline it. Remember, we underlined verbs 2 times, so that's what we did, two underlines. All right, now let's see if we can identify the part of speech, the tense of the verb based on the helping verbs that go with it, all right? So what perfect tense is it? So remember, we're looking for present perfect, which has or have, past perfect, which has had, and future perfect, will have, all right? So the first one, shortly after von Bayer had placed synthetic indigo dye on the market, Cone Mills began using it on their denim. So had placed, again, we're looking at this word, had. Had is the past perfect. So they already have perfect, so we're going to add past. It's the past perfect form of the verb. Number 5, the company has not used. Okay, there's our helping verb, has. Has is the present perfect. Present perfect. Number 6, have kept. Have, look at our helping verb. Have is present perfect. Present perfect. And number 7, Cone Mills will have remained an industry leader for decades. And then there's our helping verb, will and have. Will and have are part of the future perfect. Oh my goodness. It's hard to hold the recording device and the pen at the same time. All right. So you're going to do the same thing we just did. All right. So you're going to find the helping verb and then the past tense verb that goes with it. All right. So remember, you're looking for has, and then has what? Has remained. All right. You should not be able to. You have to underline both the helping verb and the main past tense verb. All right. And then you're going to do what we just did as well, where you're going to identify if it's present, past, or future perfect. So you're looking at that helping verb is has, is it present, past, or future perfect? Okay, if you need to flip back and remind yourself, that's fine. And then you're going to, the more you practice it, the better you're going to get. All right, so this is present perfect. Okay? And then, bada boom. You guys are doing great. All right. And then the last thing we're doing today is completely different. I did not have any, that's okay. Prefixes and suffixes, completely different topic, isn't it? That's okay. A prefix is a group of letters that's added to the beginning of a word, and it changes the meaning of the word. All right. So, for example, if it says the prefix is bi, you add that to cycle, which means bicycle, having 2 wheels. All of our prefixes have different meanings, and you've actually done this with Miss Park this year, right? You worked on prefixes and suffixes. So this is a little bit of a review, I guess, huh? The prefix dis and the prefix un mean not. In, and non also mean not. These ones you add to the words like distrust, and you have basically not trust, or the opposite of trust. You don't trust something. Unwanted is the opposite of wanting. It means you don't want it. Imperfect, it's not perfect. Inaccurate is not accurate, and nonfiction is not fiction. It's okay. So the prefix of the word really does change the meaning. Same with the suffix. The suffix is just at the end. So prefix is at the beginning. Pre means before. right? So, oh, look, it even says it right here. Pre means before. So a prefix is something that's fixed to the before the beginning of the word. A suffix goes on the end. All right, suffix goes at the end of the word. It's a group of letters added that changes the meaning of the word. Able, both of these, means you're capable of it. So if you are likable or flexible, okay, you're able to be flexed or you're able to be liked. All right. The suffix en means to make, so you can brighten the room. You're able to make it brighter. This one is a common one, er and ist, one who does something. So you have painter, artist, teacher, writer. All of those things, you're adding the prefix to the action or that they're doing, right? And it's someone who does that thing. So when you add those words or the letters to the ends or the beginnings of those words, it changes the actual meaning, all right? So you're going to do that today is you're going to add, and these are examples that you can use. You're going to add a prefix or a suffix to create a new word. Just make sure you read the sentence and it makes sense, all right? So, for example, Wallace invented the wonder, and then what would I add to well, not at the beginning. That'd be really weird. Wonder blank fabric called nylon. It's a descriptive word. It is going to be wonderful. The wonderful fabric called nylon. And then this one, nylon is blank because it is man-made. Nylon is, now I could add, what are kind of words? Usually, that's a pretty common word, but would that make sense? Nylon is usually because it's man-made? No, we know that it is unusual. It is not usual because it's man-made. It is unusual. All right. Carruthers accomplished something was the first of many synthetic materials. All right. This is something that he made. It's something that he did. So look, this one right here, it says the result right here. So his accomplishment, the result of what he accomplished. So his accomplishment was the first of many synthetic materials. Okay, you guys are going to practice that today. This is the last thing you're going to do for language. Oh my goodness. All right, so you're going to do the same thing. You're going to use a prefix or a suffix to create a new word that makes sense. And then they have given you some words, and you need to decide, like this one, it says diligently. Does that mean not diligent or in a diligent way? So think about what was added. Okay, was a prefix or a suffix added? In this case, diligently, the ly was added. So go look, what does ly mean? Does ly mean not, or does it mean in a diligent way, in a way? Okay, so then you fill in the bubble for whichever one is correct. Okay, all right, go ahead and give this a try and call me if you get stuck.